Welcome to Tech Passion Special, the show where we dive deep into the intricacies of innovative businesses and their impact on the African landscape. I'm Olayin Adeniyi. And today, we have a very special guest joining us. His name is William Bolivar, the founder of KYC Lookup, a leading compliance and KYC solution provider that is making waves in the industry. William has recently been nominated for a prestigious Compliance Influencer of the Year award at the ICA Compliance Awards 2024 in Europe. Without any further ado, please join me in welcoming William Bolivar to Tech Passion Special. Hi, William. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, congratulations on your nomination. How does it feel for getting this recognition?
A little bit surreal, if I was to be honest. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but once it came through, I've embraced it, and I've been able to meet amazing people in the journey so far. So yes, very happy to be nominated for the work that we're doing.
Glad to hear that. So let's just dive right into it. Today we're going to be discussing the how we're revolutionizing KYC compliance, insights. We're going to be discussing insights from you. That's cool. My first question is, how do you see your role as a KYC compliance influencer shaping the future of KYC in Africa?
Good question. So from my perspective, I take the role now or the title as influencer quite serious in the sense that it's about raising awareness. For me, it's very key raising awareness. What is financial crime? What is money laundering? And obviously, what is AML itself, which is the complete opposite to the money laundering as we try to prevent it.
I
From
see.
my perspective, is being able to be that focal point that people see KYC Lookup as a resource that they'll be able to go to. So being that
Okay.
point of contact that they'll be able to look online, find the resources that obviously are applicable for them, whether it's an individual who's just learning and just starting their career in financial crime, they'll be able to pick up all the basics. Or if it's a seasoned professional who wants to have a certification or wants to train a team, we are also able to cater for them. So overall, a very serious role, and most importantly, here to be that focal point to raise awareness about it.
That's very interesting. So, if I'm getting it correctly, it's basically about raising awareness and letting people know what they're getting into, what financial crime and money laundering is all about with the AML and all.
Correct. It all depends where you are in your journey. So if you're an individual wanting to get into the compliance space, then it's raising their awareness and obviously being able to gain the knowledge. If it's someone that's already a career within compliance or a business that operates within a regulatory framework and it's fully regulated, then there's the regulations that they have to comply, which highlights they have to be trained on an ongoing basis as well.
Cool. Let's talk a little bit about your backstory. What inspired you to founding KYC Lookup?
So the story starts maybe 30 years ago. I'm Colombian, born in the
Okay.
UK, but I'm from Colombia, South America. And when I was around 8 or 9 with my parents, we moved to Colombia. For those who are not aware, obviously Colombia in the 80s and 90s were heavily impacted by the drug cartels. So we were able
Yes.
to see firsthand the impact that it has on society as well as the economy. And since then, obviously finishing school, going into university and so on, I've always had that kind of like feeling of how it was back then, seeing the impact that it had. So when it came to moving into a professional career, it almost felt natural moving into the compliance space because it was something that I always loved, I always had an interest in. And once I started as a KYC analyst, it just confirmed what I thought in terms of what I liked as a career. It's now been 17 years in the AML space, and I still feel the same as I felt on the first day that it is something that I like. It's hard, but most importantly, as highlighted earlier on, it's about bringing awareness and being able to educate people in the topic.
So it's deeply rooted in passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So can you elaborate on the specific KYC challenges that businesses and financial institutions face in Africa?
Yeah. It's the regulation itself is there, but it's making sure that regulated sectors are following it. People are not fully aware that it's not just being regulated by the central bank in Nigeria, but it's also following those small print that highlights that obviously you have to provide ongoing training for your employees. As a regulated firm, you have to have full evidence of that training that is being provided. As I say, ongoing training is not just a one-off every 5 years. It needs to continuously be provided to those individuals for them to be fully aware of the latest regulations, red flags, and trends that are happening within the industry.
Cool. So, how does KYC Lookup leverage technology to tackle these unique challenges? Like,
Yeah, I mean, starting from the fact that I'm based just outside London, you're in Nigeria right now. I mean, being able to
yeah,
leverage technology for meetings like this is fantastic. Well, at the
that's key.
same time, as a service, what we do is all our courses are fully accredited and they're available online. So individuals in Africa, in Nigeria, are able to log into our learning management system once the course has been assigned to them, and they can do it in their own time from the comfort of their office, on their way to work, or from home.
So, speaking of accredited courses, I think I registered for one of your courses via LinkedIn. I haven't been able to go through the whole thing yet because I've been busy, but I've seen you handing out certificates of completion to multiple individuals online. Kudos.
Correct. It's part of our initiative. It hasn't been fully announced, but by the time the podcast goes out, it will be. We want to train over 10,000 individuals by the end of the year. And the way we're doing
Wow.
that is by offering the free training. So the free training is being enhanced with the opportunity to raise awareness and, most importantly, to give the opportunity for those who probably A, are not fully aware of who we are, or B, haven't had the chance to take one of our courses. This will serve as a demo for them to have a better idea of what we're doing, and most importantly, how we're facilitating people to be able to learn as well.
I see. That's really admirable. 10,000 people before 2024 ends. Great. So, our next question. How do you ensure that KYC Lookup's platform is user friendly and accessible for businesses of all sizes, from large financial institutions to small ones?
Yeah, as a self-funded business ourselves, we're aware of the small and medium-sized companies. What we try to do is, I'm a user of many different educational platforms over the years myself. With that said, what we try to do is translate that into what we do at KYC Lookup. The platform itself needs to be user-friendly for many reasons. Not everyone is tech savvy, especially with
Yes.
people within the compliance industry. You can have someone who's 20, 21, and just starting their career, and using smart devices, laptops, and everything is straightforward. It's part of their day to day. Or someone who's in their 50s, 55s, even older, who's been in the compliance industry for quite some time, and they know how to use technology, but they wouldn't necessarily consider themselves savvy. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
important for us to have a learning management system that can take that individual from starting to completion in a smooth journey. So it's very important for us to have a platform that is easy to use, easy to access as well across all different smart devices, and most importantly, the content. The content needs to be logical, it needs to be straight to the point, and most importantly, it needs to leave the individual having learned something. Our training is not trying to get to the end as quick as possible, trying to click through the different videos or anything like that. No, the training is to be able to leave a message, to be able to learn something, and to be able to apply on the day to day as well.
That's cool. That's great. What future trends do you foresee in the KYC and compliance space, particularly in Africa? How is KYC preparing to adapt to these changes?
Yeah, so there's a number of them. One of them is the use of AI. I mean, AI is not necessarily a trendy word. AI is something that is happening in front of us. I read a couple of months ago that they said that AI is going to evolve in in the next 5 years as much as it evolved in the last 100 years. So you can only imagine how much it's changing. And from a KYC lookup perspective, is also being able to embrace that change. So obviously we're already a digital product. We're already liaising with companies that operate within the framework of being regulated. And it's just being able to adopt the dangers as well as the strengths of using AI. So more to come in that sense from our perspective, but it's something that we're always trying to look out for and in order to use to improve our product.
Cool. I think AI is going to be a big game changer. I wonder what it will look like in the next 5 to 10 years.
Sheesh.
I can only imagine. I
Okay.
can only imagine how it
Okay.
will be.
So, Africa's regulatory environment is diverse and complex. I'm wondering how does KYC navigate these regulatory challenges to ensure compliance across different countries?
So regulations are complex. 100% correct there. What's not complex is the logic of what we try to do with understanding those regulations. At the end of the day, what we want to do, not as an organization from a KYC lookup perspective, but as a seasoned professional within financial crime and anti-money laundering, is we want to raise awareness, we want to stop, and we want for individuals to be educated enough to make a conscious decision in terms of financial crime and money laundering and so on. So working closely with the regulations themselves is brilliant, but it's also working close with the end consumer, providing that education, providing the awareness that they need to have in order to be more conscious of the dangers and the impact that money laundering and financial crime has on the society and the economy. But collaboration, I think that's something that is key, cross industry, cross professionals, to really understand what are the trends of what's happening. A trend that I can see could be a trend that another industries may be seeing as well. And just that collaboration between professional parties is going to be key in order to enhance the culture when it comes to compliance.
We understand that data security and privacy are paramount in compliance. How does KYC Lookup ensure that sensitive customer data is protected, especially in regions with varying data protection laws?
Good point. So, from a KYC lookup perspective, obviously we are operating out of the UK. For a number of years, we've already been in line and complying with the EU GDPR regulation. And for those in the audience who are not fully aware of what GDPR is, it's the General Data Protection Regulation that currently exists out of Europe. So it's very strict in terms of what type of information we're allowed to hold in file, as well as what we're able to disclose and everything. So, from a KYC lookup perspective, we're always conscious of this when we are entering new relationships. We try to ask for as little personal information as possible when we set up our users. Naturally, because it's an online product, we are going to use name, email, and so on. But we don't tend to go too further than that in terms of political views or what kind of role they have or city or telephone numbers and everything for that very same reason, in order to comply with the regulation while at the same time not end up in the hot water, as they say, in the future.
Seeing you talk so passionately about KYC is contagious. Now I feel like starting a career on my own. Our next question. What are the biggest hurdles you've encountered in terms of the adoption and implementation of KYC lookup solution in Africa, and how have you overcome them?
So our journey in Africa is still at the infancy stage. So we're still at the beginning. And one of the things that we've come across so far is being naive enough that because you're regulated, because you operate in a sector that you haven't been fined, that everything's okay. We have to be conscious of the impact that money laundering, financial crime really have on a day to day. And just the fact that you or another peer within the same industry that you operate haven't been fined in the past, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything's okay. It means that there's always room for improvement. There's always room to be able to do things differently. There's always room to be able to adopt new technology, new ways of educating people in order to stay in compliance. And then most importantly, that we highlight to different individuals and firms is don't see KYC training or anti-money laundering training as a tick box exercise. The whole idea of the training, yes, we have to comply with the regulations, but most importantly is to educate the individuals or employees that we have to be able to think logically about the work that they're doing. So whether it's an analyst who's reviewing documentation or a senior manager who oversees a department such as operations or such as anti-money laundering, the idea is for them to see, oh, okay, think differently in terms of what could happen. Maybe we can improve the reporting that we do. Maybe with the education that we're receiving, we'll be able to enhance the employees that we have for the future instead of them going somewhere else. Maybe we are able to create that culture of risk excellence that individuals stay within the firm for much longer. So there's so many different things that can come um, out of the training itself when it comes to AML or financial crime, that it's not just necessarily the ticking the.
Taken. Yeah, go there. What advice would you give to startups and businesses in Africa looking to improve their KYC and compliance processes?
Don't see it as a burden, but see it as an investment. When it comes to education, whether it's self-education or education being provided through KYC lookup, it's an investment. It's an investment in your people, it's an investment into your business, and it's definitely not an expense itself. A team that is well in compliance, not just ticking the box of the regulations, but understanding the regulations, understanding the red flags that they're exposed to, and being able to implement them through policies and procedures that are well equipped and effective, that there's no price. So that's why I say don't see it as an expense, see it as an investment, and you'll see the results in the medium to long term when it comes to having a team around you.
Cool. I should probably take that advice. It's an investment. Lastly, what is your vision for KYC Lookup in the next 5 years? And how do you plan to continue contributing to the compliance landscape in Africa?
It's a very good question. So, from a KYC lookup, we would like to be in a position to have many local partners. We're already starting to have the conversations with local partners across Africa, and those partners are our eyes and ears in the location. So, as I said at the beginning, we're based out of the UK, but we want to have that footprint in Africa. We want to be able to work with local partners who will be able to speak to those clients that have the need of receiving anti-money and financial crime training. So being able to expand, to be able to scale the business within the region, and most importantly, to make a name of ourselves in terms of providing AML services in the education sector, not just for regulated firms, but hopefully to work with regulators directly.
Mm, cool. That was our final question. And is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers about KYC Lookup?
Yes. So KYC lookup sometimes is seen, yes, we raise awareness. Yes, we have the free course that was mentioned earlier on this call, but we also have a dedicated channel on YouTube where individuals are continuing to learn for free. We have over 120 videos where individuals can literally just go and binge watch content that is going to help them in a matter of loads of different ways. One of them being learning the basics for interviews. So we've had people who literally watched our videos, go and apply for roles in AML KYC, and have actually been able to gain the role. We've also had
Impressive.
people who, through the videos, do refreshers. So they're able to go and watch those tutorials, refresh their understanding, and obviously apply for roles or already apply some of the things that we are raising through those tutorials in their current role. So many resources from our perspective. We believe in the education side from a moral perspective. I don't see that we always have to charge too much in order to be able to raise the awareness of what we're trying to do. And the more people who are fully aware, the more people who are educated, obviously, the better society we have and economy in the future, because there'll be more people involved in the ecosystem of understanding the dangers of money laundering and financial crime.
That's great. I can testify to that. You do have lots of videos on YouTube educating and raising awareness on KYC and compliance. I checked it out. Uh, where can the people find you? Do you have or LinkedIn or Twitter? Just let them know where they can find you.
Absolutely. So anyone can find us across the majority of the social media platforms: TikTok, LinkedIn, X as it's now known, as well as Facebook and Instagram, under the name KYC Lookup, as well as YouTube. So all social platforms are across the same name, KYC Lookup, as well as directly through our website, kyclookup.com, or via our website, kycinafrica.com.
Oh, thank you very much, William. It was great having you on Tech Pression Special.
No, thank you for having me, Larry. And as I say, if there's other individuals out there who want to learn more about us, feel free to contact us directly.